everyone, Fletch40 here. As you've seen, I've actually bought a couple of posters from my local shop. I'm going to start putting them up in my background now. Kind of felt that maybe before my background was a bit too boring, it was just white, so now I put some stuff up the background, so there's that. So anyway, I think it's pretty obvious from definitely the poster in the background that I'm going to be reviewing Thor, Love and Thunder today. So Thor, Love and Thunder is directed by Taika Waititi, starring Chris Hemsworth, Natalie Portman, Christian Bale, as well as Chris Pratt, Dave Bautista, Karen Gilligan, because the Guardians of the Galaxy are in it for a little bit too. Also featuring Russell Crowe as a smaller character, but he's pretty funny in it too. So this is the fourth standalone Thor movie in the MCU, not counting the Avengers movies, of course, and it's once again directed by Taika Waititi, a director that I actually do really like a lot. He has released some really good movies over the past decade, such as What We Do in the Shadows, Hunt for the Wilder People, a bunch of others. Boy, I don't think I've seen that one, as well as Jojo Rabbit, which was a great movie as well, and of course Thor Ragnarok, which I still have sort of mixed feelings of. I mean, it was definitely very different for the MCU. It had like a really wacky, abstract kind of visual set design, kind of like a piss take. It was really not taking itself seriously, kind of a romp. So I do like it, but I feel like I'm going to have to watch it a few more times for it to really start to sit well with me. But it is a unique movie. While this movie is not really trying to be Ragnarok, it's kind of trying to be, you know, just an expansion of the Thor storyline after Infinity War and Endgame. Speaking of the Thor movies, I've always found like Thor the Dark World to be the weakest Thor movie, followed by the original Thor, tying kind of with Ragnarok. And then I feel like kind of this movie kind of places for me currently is up at the top of that, of all four movies. Which is funny because this movie's been getting some pretty mixed reception recently. And I'm not really sure where I kind of see that is coming from, because I do think it is a very solid standalone Thor movie. Has a good story, a good villain. It kind of expands the character of Thor in new ways, in ways that the previous Thor movies haven't really done. It's very vibrant. I found Thor the Dark World especially to be a really dull looking movie. It's not bad, it definitely does have its good moments, but this is definitely a step in the right direction of making it look really vibrant, really interesting. Definitely has homage to a very 80s style. It has a lot of Guns N' Roses songs in it, which fit pretty well. And overall, it's another interesting take on the Thor character by Taika Waititi. I am trying to justify why this movie did get considerably lower score than most MCU movies. I guess I haven't read much into it, but I think some people are saying that it's not Taika Waititi's best. Maybe he could have put a bit more into it, but it definitely has an emotional story, that's for sure, involving Natalie Portman's character, who gets cancer, which is revealed not really that far into the movie. I guess maybe one complaint that probably is justified is that the Guardians of the Galaxy were in it for a very, very short appearance. I mean, they were literally only in it for the first 10 minutes, then after that they were gone and they didn't make a reappearance. I guess people were maybe expecting to see maybe the Guardians of the Galaxy kind of have a longer appearance in this movie, kind of like being a bit of a crossover between Thor and the Guardians of the Galaxy, and having them have a bit more significance in the overall plot of the story, which they really don't. So I guess that could be maybe one of the reasons why it's been getting mixed reviews. There's probably another number of like other factors in the movie too. But for one thing, and I know this is very general around most MCU movies, but this movie is actually pretty funny. It actually does have a few really funny moments in it. And I mean, Ragnarok did as well. Ragnarok was also a really funny movie. But of course, Korg makes a reappearance in this film, which is probably my favourite aspect of Thor Ragnarok. I really love that character. Taika Waititi does a great job. You know, just his delivery, his like his Kiwi dry comedy delivery that a lot of people love Taika Waititi for, and that's definitely present in this movie. His character hasn't changed a bit. He's just as funny and witty and kind of quaint, funny character, just the same as he was in Ragnarok. And it's very well directed. There's a really good amount of humor in this. They have like this flying horse transportation, but instead of it's being flying horses, it's two screaming goats, which is really funny. And there's like a scene where like the events of like Thor 1 are like being recreated in like some sort of like theme park play, because there's like this there's now like this Thor themed tourist attraction, which is sort of like a theme park museum-ish kind of location of where Thor used to hang out, which is now being flooded by like tourists all over the universe, I guess, which I thought was a nice touch. Now let's talk about Christian Bales, because it was surprising to see him in a Marvel movie, because he's never been in a single Marvel MCU movie ever. And funnily enough, he was Batman in the Dark Knight trilogy, which was a DC property, so it's kind of funny of seeing him transfer from DC to Marvel after about a decade since the Dark Knight trilogy ended. And he does a really good job in this movie as the villain. He's an entertaining villain. He has a lot of range. He's quite scary in some scenes. Definitely one of the stronger MCU villains that I've seen in the past couple of years, behind Thanos, of course. I mean, and the returning villains in No Way Home. But overall, I thought he was a good villain. He had a good backstory. He had a good arc, which I won't spoil. I've already spoiled kind of that Russell Crowe was in this movie. And for the time that he's given, he's also pretty funny. Of course, it's Russell Crowe, so he does actually give quite a good performance as kind of like a smaller time character, more of a secondary character. And he is funny. Overall, funny movie. Looks good. I like the 80s style. The Guns N' Roses music in it is pretty good. But I do think that definitely it could have been a bit better in some aspects. But it's definitely not a bad movie. It's definitely a movie that you should watch if you're into Thor and into Marvel. And I highly recommend that you go see it. Overall, it's I think it's a pretty nice movie. It definitely could have been better, I could say, but overall, a very solid fourth entry in the Thor chronology, and I think it is the best Thor movie that we've got so far. So I highly recommend that you go see it if you can. It's a good one, and as always, thanks for watching, and